Namaskar. Welcome to the network security as well as computer security, which deals with authentication, attack, viruses, spyware, and protection mechanism firewall. As you are aware, the security breaches in computer as well as network is costing huge amount of money for organization as well as for persons. The security threat for a computer or the threat which is coming through network, both are to be addressed in a proper way. Since the network is connection of computers, the threat can be even come to the computer from outside. So internal as well as external threats are always there whenever a computer is on a network. The first security threat which came into computer was in the form of viruses. And I am sure that anyone who is working with the computer must be knowing about the viruses. Now this topic will discuss all these issues in brief and some of the things about the measure or the solution which should be taken when working with computers. In broader outline, the talk is about computer security and network security and information security, and attacks such as hacking, then spread of virus, putting Trojan in a computer, and the various defense mechanism which include a firewall and the unified threat management system for prevention of IDS, intrusion detection systems. Let us first see what is the goal of security in computer or network. Everybody will work or will like to work in a secured environment, whether a person or an institution, because security ensures the confidentiality of data as well as the services and program running in a system. Many a times it is important that we should keep the information very close to the user only, not to be shared with others. Since computer is dealing with all kind of personal information as well as the security codes like passwords, PIN, the integrity of the user is to be ascertained in any network. And the services and data should be available to the user 24/7 basis. That means due to any threat such as security breaches, there should not be any breakdown for the user. So these are the three security goals: confidentiality, integrity, as well as the availability. Now let us think about information security. There are very recent incidents to share with you about information security. One of the very prominent network expert was working in his computer, and immediately a screen pop up with a message. The screenshot I will show you later, telling that all the data in your computer system is now blocked. That means it's all encrypted and put with a password. All data he shares in the computer. That means he may not be able to directly retrieve any data in the hard disk he already stored or in any of the devices he stored. And there will be another message with that: this is already locked. To unlock, you pay this amount of money. This is the latest threat coming in computer systems now. That is what is called ransomware. So this is the risk of security for information. So the network security are widely used in computer network, and computer networks are used to connect computer at distant locations. So this, because of the ability to connect with other computer in location which is not in our purview, there is a security problem. That means while transferring information from one machine to another, we should see that data in transmission must be protected. That is part of information security. And network connectivity also exposes each computer for more vulnerabilities. Many programs we are using which must be having a loophole for an outside user to get into the computer, and so that he can deal with information security. If the information stored in our system is not proper, then there is no value of dealing with the information. So protection of data is one of the major important factor. Now, how to protect data? Then we should ensure the computer security first. Many of the systems, multiple users share the same hardware and software of resources. And sometimes we also allow remote login to our computer over phone lines. That means the computer which we are working is at the risk of someone else to work with. The measures and tools to protect data, and the third hacker is called computer security. So we should take measure and tools for protecting this. That is what is computer security. Now there could be two kinds of attack to our computer. One is called passive attack, another is active attacks. If anyone gets control of our system, there could be two objectives. One is just for eavesdropping on information. He may not modify the data even if he has access to it. That is very difficult to dictate because he is not changing any data, just eavesdropping. But think about a situation that your password or PIN number or credit card information which you stored in a file is being eavesdropped by somebody. So the threat can come later because he has already accessed the confidential information of the user. And active attacks are that the attacker comes into computer and modify the data, or it can even create data and information in computer. So these are the two types of attack, passive and active attacks. So passive threats are general release of message content and traffic analysis, what kind of program people are using. This all gives generally the user habit of working with a computer. So passive attacks are also dangerous because if a research lab is working with the data and somebody comes to eavesdrop into the formula which he is using, there is a threat of that the other person may copy it. Now active threats which modify data and it masquerade the original user and modify the content of the data, and after some time it will also deny the services in the computer. So DOS attack, it is called denial of service attack kind of. So these are the two models of threats. Now simple way, let us look at why a hacker comes into our system or how he gets access to our system. So in network and computer there is something called authentication. Any computer is generally need an authentication procedure. There are many ways of authentication. The simple way is that you use a username and password. And any kind of method if you are using, there is a loophole to break it. Let us say that I use my username and a password to log into my system. That is the only security mechanism I have to protect my system. Now what happened? User name can be guessed because many of the time the usernames are created with our names. There is no confidential information about usernames. But password is something user assigned, and here lies the problem. When we conducted a survey, when I teach MTech students and MSc students, I just asked a simple question to people that how many of you are using simple password? To my surprise, I have seen that 80 to 90% students are using simple password. What is a simple password? They will put it as ABC123 or XYZ123, or if my name is Manoj, then I will put it as Manoj123. These are guessable password. Even my surname with some letter 123 is added, root123, admin123. These are the password assigned by even the super user and administrator of a system. These are easily guessable password. So username and password is to be chosen in such a way that others cannot guess it in first attempt. There are mechanisms, even if you have password, there are mechanisms or tools to keep on trying with a different password to your system. So that such kind of attacks are called brute force attacks. They can supply different names, permutation of names, and combination of different alphabets and character one by one, 1,000 or 10,000 times immediately in a second, which can be given to your username, and that kind of attack is also there. So at least for the safe side, it is better to use a proper password. I will discuss it that. So username and password is a simple authentication method. The second one is IP address based. If my IP, every network, every computer or node in a network has a unique IP. So I can make my server to configure in such a way, if the access is from only this system, then only get access to this. That is IP address based. This will come in an advanced level. And very common methods are coming now for authentication in a computer or laptop system is biometric. Even mobile phones, these are very useful. You can use your fingerprint, because our fingerprint, thumb impression, finger, all these are very unique for an individual. So it varies from person to person. So anything which depends on the physical body structure which is unique in a human being is what is called biometric authentication. So fingerprint is very common, thumb impression is very common for authentication. The other one is face reading software. I calibrate my face with the system, maybe from a different angle, my face is being captured with a different angle. Then this can be used the next time when I look into the system. If I look, then only the system will open, face reading software. Then there is voice recognition. It is told that voice of people are very, very different. So if I use, hello computer, please open, that will be very unique to my style, and that cannot be imitated or mimicked by someone else. So that is also another, but that kind of mechanism has its own loophole. If somebody else tell or talk exactly like you, maybe computer can be fooled for face recognition, but that is also voice recognition, that is also there. Then every computer or devices in the network, which is having every computer or devices, instruments, which can be connected each other, has a unique address called MAC address. So we can also use IP address or MAC address or combination of both for the strict authentication purpose. But in nutshell, 95% we are using username and password. Now, some of the type of network attacks, if they get your username and password, they eavesdrop, which I mentioned already, passive kind of attack. Then data modification, active attack. Then identity spoofing. That is mean whenever somebody want to connect, he will act as you. That he can even change the IP address and tell that yes, I am this person because I have the same IP. This is what is called spoofing. That then password-based attack. Once attack is complete, or if a server is continuously trying for access, there could be a chance that other user cannot get access to that. That is what is called DOS attack, denial of service. No service will work. Then man in the middle attack, that is not the user, or in between somebody get into the network and send the packets or data as if that is in the network. Then compromised key attack, sniffer attack, application layer attack. These are some of the attacks available in network. Now, how we can protect username and password? Let us talk about a wrong password versus a strong password. The wrong passwords are generally guessable password, which I already told, that using ABC, ABC123 or 123, root 123, admin 123, your name 123, surname 123. These are all guessable password for your colleagues or person you are known to you. And using dictionary password, if I wrote furniture as a password, it's a dictionary word. If I use any other English word, sometimes people submit password as the password. So this is available in dictionary. There are software which takes all dictionary words and submit to against your password. So that is also easily, it can be easily broken, the password. So avoid guessable password and dictionary word is the first mantra for setting a password. Now how can you make a strong password? A question comes, when I put a strong password, I may forget it. So the easiest method is that you use a known name with you and use 3 kinds of letters in password. One is alphabet, another is numeric, and third is the special character. And it is very difficult to remember special character in between. So the technique is that replace the non-English word with equal special character. For that example, when I write Manoj, the second letter A is almost sounds like at the rate. So I don't use A as my name because Manoj can be guessed easily. What I use is M at the rate Manoj. So I have a mechanism to generate password. I will put my puppy's name with me, Manoj Jimmy, and since password is created in this year, 2016, then every password I end with hash and at the rate. This is my style. So every user can develop their own style. End with the hash and at the rate or any other special character which you like. So that will be unique to you. And this password is simply actually Manoj Jimmy 2016 at hash at the rate. And password is easily remember. It uses 16 character password. Alphabet is there, numeric is there, special character is there. All are there. That means this is what is called a strong password. So the easy password, guessable password, first change with the strong password. And the second way of protecting your password, every month you change the password, at least in regular interval. 3 months you have to change any password off. So this can at least give the other user to guess or use it after some time, because you are changing it. And there also you can have a mechanism. You can add a month in between somewhere, so that every month when you change the password, you change. And write somewhere that I changed the password in July. That means you know what is going to be the password. And it is known to you, known to only you, because the special character you decide. Here I used at the rate, instead of I used exclamation mark, and this is the word. Instead of E, I can use 3, the numeric letter. So this is how to create strong password. If that is there, the password based program that can be, the strong password can protect your computer from others to try for your password. Now, the very common attack comes into through viruses. It is told that there are 1 million viruses, and at least the famous computer antivirus company claimed that they have at least 1 lakh signature with them. That means one computer also can have many variances. So the total number of viruses at any point of time is very difficult to predict, because the virus change its nation. What is a virus? Virus is a computer program, not the biological virus. The computer program with a malicious logic and replicate itself repeatedly. Once it gets infected in a system, it can also spread in the network, sending the same program to other and get control over it. And there are at least 40 to 50 viruses per week. It is coming 200 per month. Every update of software, very popular software, if you look at this, is the frequency of update which happens in there. That means listing itself is possible for 53 to 60,000 viruses now. And definition, if I go, it is told that a crude definition of vital information resource under siege. So in short, it's a program designed by a programmer knowingly. to damage other computer without a user knowledge. And once computer enter into a system, it may not act immediately. So that means there is a dormancy period. Many of the viruses in the earlier period, which will only get activated at a particular date. So the number 13 was one of the very notorious date in the computer field, because 13th some viruses like Jerusalem etc. gets activated. So the only similarity with the biological virus is that it find and attach themselves to the host without knowing. That's why this name may be derived virus. Now how it is activated? The virus, once it is spread or sent into a person, it will keep in their system and in their memory and keep till the date it is told, or the time it is told, or the number of days it is to be. That is what is dormancy. So the day it get a catalyst, if 13 is the day, that is going to be the catalyst day for it for activation. And virus spread across all network, electronic networks, internet services, bulletin board, through email, from internet, through the program you download from internet. Anywhere this virus can be found, it can attach to. So it is better not accept any program if the person is not known to you, as well as if the source of the program is not known to you. Both you have to take care. Files and software exchanged on disk and tape. And there are macro viruses which even affect the Word document, etc. Because macro programs are there in Word, Excel kind of data processing packages, word processing packages, that. And generally where this virus infect, it can infect on files, bootable disk, data files, executable program, and any cross platform on the Intel platform. And it can also hide in the memory, in the hard disk, in flash drive, in USB drive, in upper part of the memory, high memory, and terminate and stay resident. The RAM I wrote is that random access memory. Any program which is to be executed, that generally goes to RAM. So our all data passes through RAM, and extended and expandable memory. But generally that computer's information is stored in a chip called CMOS. That will not get affected. So hardware, virus cannot damage hardware. Virus cannot get into the CMOS where information is stored, but it can get into the hard disk. Now, virus categories, depending upon its payload, how much damage it can create, that can be BSFI or CFI. The boot sector infectors, that is any virus which goes to the boot sector. Boot sector is the main sector when computer is on. All the information it starts from the boot sector. So if that is infected, that means your computer is completely under the control of the virus. And program file infectors are there, CFIs are there. In DOS and Windows, you will see that .com, .exe, sys, DLL, OVR, CR, all these are the kind of program executors. And the virus can attach to this program. Suppose if a 4K program is there, virus modify this 4K with its code with a 2K. So if a programmer or non-person look at it, they will understand, they will feel that this is the program of the system. So that is how virus hide themselves in the network. And macro viruses, as I mentioned, can infect doc file, XLS file, or it can spread through these kind of documents. Now, it is advisable for any user, go to the search engine, search for the common virus list, and try to find out which is the boot sector virus, program viruses. And viruses are, many viruses are polymorphic in nature. Polymorphic means it shows its color differently in different contexts. Sometimes it will attack one type of file. When it is again spread across to some, that time it will work differently. So polymorphic is one of the feature of the viruses. And multipartite viruses are there. Viruses which can now, earlier it was told it is very difficult to attack Unix-based system, but now viruses are there for that also. But if you look at 95 to 96%, the viruses attack Windows-based system. That's why server, etc., people are generally reluctant to use Windows-based machines. So many of the servers you will see in Linux or Unix, which are not very vulnerable for attack through viruses. Malicious program like Trojan horse, Java, ActiveX, etc. Trojan horse is a kind of virus. It's like it deposits into a computer by a person. Once it deposits, it can move to other. Or it will be remind that the Trojans are deposited through what means. Trojan horse is a story from olden history where a horse was put in somewhere with the soldier inside. Then the enemy came, the horse exploded, all the enemy, and they killed the enemies. Similarly, the program also get into the computer and then it works its own. But Trojan horse need a carrier all the time to get deposited. So in a nutshell, what it does, it can infect program, word processor, spreadsheets, or operating system file, boot memory, or boot sector, and data files, executable programs, even attachment. And what virus cannot do? They can't damage hardware such as keyboard monitor, write protected disk, text-based email, etc. Virus generally not affected. And there are different kinds of viruses. This 30 minutes time is not sufficient to discuss in detail for all these viruses. But I just mentioned some of this. Hardware. This is by advertising software. For every click, one advertisement will pop up. This is a kind of hardware. It's a kind of threat to the user, time-killing process. But generally, hardware will not do any harmful activity in the system. Then armored viruses, winning viruses, bomb viruses, boot viruses, boot sector viruses, bootware, browser hijacker, companion virus, dialer, FAT viruses. FAT is file allocation table virus. That is every computer, it creates its own file allocation table. There it shows that information. It's an index file of the document you stored or data you stored in the computer. If FAT virus attacks, the table get damaged. That means we don't get a link with the software or programs data we stored in the net. File detecting viruses, keylogger, very important thing. When you are working, try to work with the public internet cafes. This threat is the keylogger. If you try to log in with your username and password, the keylogger program can catch each key you press and it can send it. I have personally seen one of the attack like that. In a cafe, whenever I type a username and password, it automatically stored into next computer one file. The person there who is sitting there, he can just open it and show. This program I have also shown to some of the IPS officer. When I took a class in IIMK, I asked one of the IPS officer to come and type his username and password with my computer. He typed it, immediately I showed the password openly that this is what is your password. This keylogger. And it is very difficult to know whether keylogger is running in the system or not. So one method to do is scribble the word you type it or use a virtual keyword. Like bank, etc., they are providing a virtual keyword. That means you have to click on the keyboard to get the letter, so that the typing stock will not be stored. That is how we can deal with the keyloggers. Or what you can do, you can store your password in a file, and you can copy it by using Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V. So he will not be knowing that your password is typed. So keylogger. Then macro virus, malware, mass mailer virus, memory resident virus, repartite virus, multi-characteristics virus, parasite virus, polymorphic virus, program viruses. So you can Google and find out each activity of virus. How to remove virus? Just download any antivirus program, repair the infected disk, boot record. So there are so many antivirus programs available. One of that you can download it. I'll just talk it later. And this is the latest threat which I was mentioning at the introduction time. Immediately I find that my computer is blocked. Warning, your personal files are encrypted with a time. If you pay within this time, link is there, user there, This your computer has been locked, and the screen, how to unlock? Pay $1, take your cash onto billing location, Walmart, etc. Money back, get money back, all this. And this is how some of this is what you call a ransomware, which is very coming up as a threat now in computer. So suggestion is that use an antivirus software. Antivirus generally check if any virus is available at the time of installation. It check all the programs, scan complete hard disk if a virus is stored anywhere. And this has to be done periodically. Every week we have to do it. And antivirus also, when a suspicious program comes, it will give an alert that yes, this is that. And if it found some program which is malicious, it will put it as a quarantine file. It will not allow to work in the computer. It will isolate from the normal activities. That is what is called quarantine. And we have to use the disk, floppy disk if you are using, or if you have to scan the USB drive, etc. before using it. And important, every week update the virus protection, because the signature of the virus keep changing every week. So they update it, the antivirus agencies. And after update, again scan the computer. And this can be set automatically now in any. And it is better that we give a time period, configure the antivirus for scheduled scan and live update, so that we need not do it manually. At the time when it comes, like Friday evening, you can ask your computer virus program to antivirus program to update itself. And the non-antivirus work, if it is known, it is very easy. If it is unknown, there is something like a heuristic technology, a Blood Hood technology. That means Blood Hood generally isolate and locate the various logical region of a file. If you feel that some files are trying to use the memory of your computer, that means memory in a sense, the protected part of memory, if any computer file is trying to use it, then this technology will tell that yes, there is a critical information trying, and it will be inoculated in quarantine. And other mechanism is that if you want to protect server, etc. So far what we were talking is about the desktop, laptop, and other devices, iPad, etc. Now, if you want to create a secured environment inside a network, the technique is called firewall. The firewall can be gateway level. So every traffic which comes to your network, any traffic which is going from your network, coming to your network, going from your network, this both will be scanned in a middleware. So there are appliances, that is boxes, electronic box product, appliance-based firewall, which works as at a gateway level, which will do all kind of antivirus protection, spam filtering, intrusion detection, prevention system, bandwidth management, web content filtering, anti-phishing, load balancing, DNS, proxying, and also give demilitarized zone to create inside our. DMZ means it's an area where people can access only if permission is there. It will only tell that if you are on using this program, then only it is allowed. That kind of protected area can be created in the network. So firewall is a mechanism to protect your network. Now let us see a diagram for firewall. From internet, somebody is trying to access your web server, and you have put a box in between. So when the box will check if any request is coming, like 804 generally is for web server 443. If 80443, then only allow. Otherwise, it will block at the firewall. And to your network, if it is telling that apart from web content, nothing should go, then any content coming to firewall to you, other services, try to remote login, etc. comes, it will be blocked at the firewall. So this is what the use of firewall. Now, virus and Trojan I have mentioned, and spyware is that any technology that aids gathering information. People try to put spyware and get it, which sites you are logging, what is your interest, and generally this is done for the business purposes. If I keep on buying clothes, then spyware will get, he's a maniac person for always purchasing clothes, so let us put the advertisement of clothes on his computer, this spyware. And tips and tricks that using DMZ to your advantage, and firewall as a intrusion detection device, configuration of DMZ. I am not going to tell detail about DMZ, but DMZ configuration is separate area of a firewall, usually in a subnet, where servers are located, and you define a policy at the firewall level to access it. So demilitarized, this DMZ stands for demilitarized zone. You completely tell that nobody can enter here, but allowed person, demilitarize it. That this much, if I is coming for this purpose, this is allowed. If a person coming from this network, it is allowed. Like that, it can be defined. So an example of DMZ configuration, generally web server is to be placed. Web server work through TCP port 80 or 443. So your firewall tells that only this is allowed. This is how DMZ is created. Now, that's all about the network thing. Now, from external protection on internal protection can be managed by using antivirus program. External attack can be protected by using firewall. Now, type of infection to recall: virus, Trojan, worms, spams, spyware, malware, adware, and ransomware. Now, it is harmful. Whether this is harmful to the system, there are 3-4 different ways of attacking. One is it slow down the performance of system. Everybody, when the computer goes slow, they assume that my system is attacked by virus. Or if you are scanning, people will tell that you have to again reload the operating system, remove all the data, and slow down. And sometimes, even after removing the program, some of the virus resides in the memory when you are removing, and it again will copy to the hard disk and destroy data. Hamper legitimate program. And since it is spreading across the network, it consumes unnecessarily bandwidth. So the total network will become slow. So it reduces the network performance and steal data. These are some of the harmful causes. And initially I told there are 1 million viruses, and every day viruses are coming. So the threat is like we can't have a 100% foolproof solution for protecting, because every day this is changing. What we can do is that we create, or we at least update the virus definition file every week. And spyware generally spies, but it can also steal the credit card password and etc. So have some gateway and system level antivirus software. Let us see now some of the antivirus before I close the talk today. There are open source freewares and there are paid one, and every software has its own advantage. Like Kaspersky is very non-freeware. You can download it free of cost and put at least have some of the features. F-Secure is another one. AVG is there. Avast is there. These are all antivirus free software. If you want to pay so that you get support from this, Norton, Trend Micro, McAfee, Inoculate, Bitdefender, eScan. These are the paid or charged antivirus software, etc. Trend Micro, Norton, the three are always in competition to improve their skills. I think with that words, I end this security talk. Have proper policy, network policy. Don't allow unknown user to enter into network. Have a secured and strong password, and have an antivirus solution software in your system always. And if you are using server, try to build the firewall. With this 3-4 mechanism, you can stop your threat into that. So thank you so much for patiently listening to this talk. I wish you a very threat-free network and computer job and task. Enjoy it. Thank you.